Chairman. Mr. Collier, this question is for you. What is your understanding of the decision EPA undertook to initiate the Bristol Bay watershed assessment? Did the EPA initiate this study to gather more information, or did it seem more like a preemptive 404C action?
Congressman, you give me just 1 second, please, sir, to respond quickly to a couple of other points raised. There's been no finding by the Department of Natural Resources based on the recent tour that we had leached acidic waste into the environment. The 24 wells were not random samples. The 8 that were leaking water, we took DNR to those 8 because we had noted they were leaking water to show them what was going on. We brought this to their attention, and we wanted them to see what we intended to do in order to plug that water from leaking in the future. Any suggestion that we have any issues out there, we are 100% in compliance with our permits. Mr. Congressman, from the get-go, there has been a decision made at EPA to veto this project. There are countless emails that show that. I saw a couple new ones just within the last few days.
If I may, let me put you on hold right there. I have a slide I wanted to get your take on. If we can put the slide up. If you look at this email communication, it's between EPA employees David Evans and Palmer, I guess it's Huff, H-O-U-G-H, is how that would be pronounced, regarding Alaska Senator Murkowski's press release upon the EPA's announcement to conduct the Bristol Bay watershed assessment. In it, David Evans writes, and I'm quoting, "Interesting spin on EPA's announcement/decision. Her communications would suggest no 404C would be done until all the science is in." Now, here's the smoking gun, David Evans says. "Obviously, that's not what we have in mind," end quote. Does it get, when you see a statement like that, do you think a reasonable person says, well, the EPA is probably objective on this matter?
And you know, Congressman, this is one of dozens of such emails. The one I saw just yesterday was one where they were talking back and forth, and one says to the other, you know, there are 2 options. We can do a little science and then veto it, or we can just veto it without doing the science. And they said, well, at least we don't have a disagreement of what the end result is.
That's the juror to the judge. Judge, let's give him a fair trial and then hang him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, you know, our request continues to be, just let us have due process. Give us an environmental impact statement. Give us an independent to review that environmental impact statement, and then we'll have this debate. We recognize there are environmental challenges with building a mine in Bristol Bay, but we think we've got answers to those if we can just get an opportunity to have that debate.
So you're in business. I own an air conditioning company 34 years. I've dealt with the EPA over Freon issues for a long time. So as a business people, we would say, well, the EPA's job is to be fair and an impartial judge, if you will, to make an assessment based on something that you, the business community, brings the EPA. It's not, I would argue, say if you agree, that it's not necessarily EPA's job to go out before you bring them something and to tell you, hey, don't bother bringing this to you because we're not going to approve it. Would you agree with that?
Congressman, I do, and I think fair process is what it's all about. One of the proudest things I've had a chance to do in my career was to work with Vice President Gore and Secretary Babbitt on the spotted owl timber issue in the Pacific Northwest. And I was part of a team that was helped manage that situation, and our goal was, for the first time in a handful of times, to be able to put together a scientific report that would withstand judicial scrutiny. Been thrown out a number of times before because of process issues, and we did that. And there are a couple things we did that were very important. We made sure we had independent scientists that didn't have pre-stated views on the issue. That did not happen here. And we didn't allow there to be contact between the stakeholders and the decision makers as the process was going on. Those were two fundamentally fair things we did, and neither of those is present by
Well,
EPA.
I'm running out of time, but I would argue that in this case, it seems apparent to me that the EPA has acted as judge, jury, and executioner in killing this project. Mr.
Prosecutor
Chair.
also, sir.
Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. The gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Westerman, is recognized.